Hey everybody, it's Wes with Fundamental Games. I'm going to show you a little bit of about tarot. You can read about it and learn about it all over the place. It's a very popular divination tool. And this isn't a way to actually tell the future. This is just a fun entertainment exercise. And you take out of it what you will. You don't have to believe in it at all, but it can be fun. So tarot cards are exactly like this in that they come in 4 suits plus a major arcana suit that is kind of suitless, as well as the gesture card or the fool, which basically is a 0 value card. They're all shuffled together. You can see 78 cards here. I'll shuffle them once face up and just show you that they basically completely randomize when I shuffle them. So we're going to do that, but then I'll flip them over and I'm going to do that again. You'll notice the back of the cards, occasionally they'll flip around as well, just like that. And it's an ambergram, so you see it goes both ways, and that's one of the neat things. Sometimes in tarot decks, reading cards upside down can be important as well if you choose to play with the inverse values. But anyway, I've shuffled this deck up a few times. I'm going to think of a question while I shuffle. And that question will be, should the Fun in 5 YouTube channel continue? So that's a channel that I do. It's just 5 minutes about board games that I own and play. So let's see if the Fun in 5 board game channel should continue. And one more shuffle. There we go. So there's my shuffle. I've shuffled the whole thing. I'm going to grab the top card of the deck. You don't have to grab the top card of the deck, but I'll just grab the top card here. And my question was, should the Fun in 5 board game channel continue? And what we have drawn is the 10 of staves. So there's nothing written on these cards. You can gather some insight into the image. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go to my cheat sheet because I don't have these memorized yet. But I'm going to look at the 10 of staves. So let me just head over to my website. I've got it all saved on here. I've got descriptions specific to my cards instead of just the standard tarot card. So the 10 of staves shows an old wizard carrying a large bundle of staves towards a small town only a short distance away. The burden looks large. He's weighed down by the heavy load he is carrying, but he knows he's almost at his destination and will soon be able to release the heavy weight he is bearing. It appears to be a very useful delivery to what looks like a castle or palace for the arcane. That is the 10 of staves, known as the 10 of wands in traditional arcana, and it represents burden, extra responsibility, hard work, and completion. So I guess the question we have there is, how does that relate to what I just asked? So let's take a look at this 10 of staves. Perhaps I am this wizard bearing this load of staves. This load of staves could be my videos. This could be the burden I carry trying to create these videos and have to decide, is it worthwhile? Is there any benefit to it? But I can see in the distance, perhaps there is a reason for it. Perhaps these staves are needed for people who might be interested in these videos that don't want to watch videos that are 30 minutes long and an hour long or talk about all the negatives. Fun in 5 are 5-minute videos about the positives of board games, things that I like, reasons that I want to play them. So perhaps this 10 of staves says that despite the fact that it's a heavy burden on me and my time and my energy to try to put together the sets and put the videos and images splayed across the screen and make it interesting, all crammed in a 5-minute video that you have to edit for audio and edit for visuals. Perhaps all that burden and responsibility of carrying these loads of videos up this tall mountain to this palace that is YouTube, perhaps it is all for benefit to others and a sense of feeling complete myself, that the games that I play serve a purpose in helping others. Now that is a lot of inference that you can take out of a single card drawing, and this is the 10 of staves. The higher you go in the base class suits, which staves go up to 10, and then they go into the court cards, which have other meanings after that. But the higher you go, the more impactful possibly or complete that number could be. So there you go. That is an example of a single card reading. Now, let's shuffle this up again, and let's think about something else. So I'm going to think again about my Kickstarter path with Fundamental Games. And we'll use a stop, start, and continue approach. And this is something that John from Two Gun Pixie did as well. I'm going to do my own take on it. So we're just shuffle these up a few more times, and we're going to pull 3 cards. So Fundamental Games, running Kickstarters. How should I stop, start, and continue? So the first card would be the stop, the second card would be the start, and the third card would be the continue. And we'll just take these rest of this deck out of the way here. So stop, start, continue. We should stop. So Knight of Blades. Now the Knight of Blades, here I'll pull it up on my other screen and read it. I know what it means, but it's important to explain it. So Questeros, Knight of Blades. The way this one reads is a knight dressed in armor charging ahead with great energy on a powerful griffin. The knight's sword is held high, a symbol of dedication to his purpose and mission. In the background, storm clouds are beginning to form and the trees bend in strong winds. The wind doesn't stop the knight, however. He heads directly into it, eager to complete his mission alongside his comrades in the background. The Knight of Swords, or the Knight of Blades, is about ambitious, action-oriented, driven to succeed, and fast thinking. So if I think about this card here, I'll zoom in a bit more so you can see it again. But the Knight of Blades could mean that I jump to action a little too fast. Perhaps I jump to Kickstarter before a project is ready. Perhaps I don't fully playtest aspects of it. I saw some of that in Novus. Perhaps I jump to finishing the rulebook or the cards. We saw some of that in Die in the Dungeon with the die rake didn't have all the abilities, and there were a couple of typos in the dungeon guide. So the Knight of Blades, something I should stop is rushing into things, and it doesn't mean don't be action oriented, but not with such recklessness, I guess you could say. If you think of those words there, action oriented, driven to succeed. You want to be driven to succeed, but driven to succeed in a way that's not so fast, that it doesn't create such storm clouds after the fact. Those strong winds could be a negative effect down the road. So I will take that as to stop the fast flying action and perhaps take a bit more time and planning into some of these things, even more so than I've already tried to do, because I still rush through some of the things that I do with Fundamental Games. So what do we want to start? Start is the 4 of Orbs. Ooh. So you can see here we've got a rogue in the darkness picking a lock. So let's read about the 4 of Orbs. We'll go back to my website, go to Questeros Orbs, and read about the 4. All right, scroll down. Sorry you can't see my page here, but just showing the one page at a time. 4 of Orbs, the way this reads is... 4 of Orbs shows a thief kneeling on the ground in a dark room, a city looming behind him in the window. He clutches an orb in one hand while trying to pry at a lock with the other, seemingly afraid to let go of his money. He has another orb stashed in a backpack, and 2 more sit near his feet. His methods and fixation on money leave him alone in the dark. He has no one to speak to, not even the friends and family members in the community behind him. The man finds himself stuck in one place with a singular fixation: wealth. So the 4 of Orbs is about saving money, security, conservatism, scarcity, and control. So what does that mean for Fundamental Games? Well, it's saying I should start. So I think if I think about it, and even in my own financial situation, I think it means I have to start being a bit more aware of the impacts my decisions might make on my finances. Not only Fundamental Games, but also possibly on my family or my personal income, and understand that scarcity and lack of funds could be a problem in the long haul. It may be okay to be fast and frivolous in the early parts of building a company, but once you've got that roots established and you've spent freely, perhaps I need to think more about conservatism and understand that if I don't, I could be in trouble. Now, it does also indicate loneliness and focus on wealth. And if Fundamental Games wants to continue making games for years down the road, I do need to incur a little bit of wealth to keep the project going, because I can't pull from my own personal funds for much longer. The well is going to dry up soon. So I'll read that as be more cautious about funds, be more in control of my wealth, and understand that it can't be all about action orientation. It's got to be about planning and financial security. And then we move on to continue. So this must be something I'm already doing that may be resulting in some form of success already. What does it reveal? We have the King of Staves. Now, a king is a good card to see in most cases because it's the highest of a rank. So you notice we didn't get any quest cards or major arcana. So there's no huge tumultuous changes here. But let's see what the King of Staves has to say. And we also pulled across 3 different suits, so that's interesting. It's got a diversity there when you pull across different suits. But the King of Staves, I'm just going to pull that up on the website under Questeros Staves. And the King of Staves, it is represented by a female in this particular deck because the halflings aren't gender biased, and whoever can lead can lead. But the King of Staves is a female halfling standing in the burnt remains of her former forest city. A female king shows that anyone can become a leader if they pursue their vision and act with honor. She is holding a stave sprouting bright green leaves. It's a symbol of life and creativity. Her pant leg is decorated with a lion's head, and she's summoning fire magic in the shape of a lizard. Both are symbols of fire and strength. The fire salamander biting its own tail in the shape of her staff, representing infinity and the ongoing drive to move forward against all obstacles. This concept is even more prevalent given the fact that the backstory of this part of Questeros is in the destroyed remains of the halfling forest city. And the meaning of the King of Staves card is about being a natural-born leader, having a vision, being an entrepreneur, and honor. So how does that represent fundamental games? Well, and in the aspect of continuing. So in continuing, we would want to continue, in my estimation, creativity is represented. This is the pinnacle of creativity, so wanting to continue that creativity, creating new worlds, new characters, new concepts, new games, I think is important based on what we see here in the King of Staves. Talks about being a leader. So how do you lead when you're doing board games? Well, I think I should continue trying to lead others to support the games that I create. So, for example, when building this particular deck of Questeros, the way I led was giving narrative and story direction for the video for the Kickstarter, or for every single piece of art in this deck here, flipping through. John DeCampos did a wonderful job with all the art, but every single piece of cards art concept was originally designed by me, trying to sketch it out and trying to capture the essence of Rider-Waite in different ways. And then John did a fantastic job on putting his spin on it and his comical images into there and his coloring style. And then, it talks about, let's just zoom back on it again, continuing infinity. It talks about ongoing drive to move forward against all obstacles. So I think that part, moving forward against all obstacles, even though things may be burning around you and may seem like things are hopeless. For example, when Legends of Novus, I had to pay an extra $4,000 or $5,000 in shipping fees to get things to Europe and pay for VAT and imports that suddenly appeared that were not part of the original contract, partially due to my Knight of Blades mentality and ignoring the potential for Orbs to some extent. But I still managed to bypass that obstacle and continue on. And it's saying continue on getting past those challenges. If things are getting in your way, fight past them. Be a leader. Follow your vision, and good things will hopefully come. So there you go. There's a reading, a self-reading using my Questeros deck, using the themes and concepts behind the Rider-Waite tarot deck, but with the beautiful visions that are represented in these cards, because I absolutely love the fantasy world. So being able to create one of my own and having my own tarot deck with fantasy images, I think is just really, really awesome. And doing this self-reading, if you ever do a reading on yourself using a deck like this, it can be interesting where it leads your mind, because you might not actually think about things like this until you have some reason to do it. And even though it might not have even a kernel of truth in the real world, it creates internal insight and thoughts into what you're doing with your life or your company or your friends or your family or your loved ones that you might not have seen otherwise. So if you like what you saw here, if you like Questeros, there is a live Kickstarter right now. This entire deck is only $24 US, and it can be used as a tarot deck like we just did here, but it's also a multiplayer card game. It's a solitaire card game with little Eero the Goblin here, and it can. There's a new function that I'm creating. Well, people have used it before, but a Fate deck for RPG. But there's also a deck of Fate, which is going to be like a what do you call it? Deck of many things, but geared specifically towards these Questeros cards. So look forward to that. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you got some inspiration on tarot reading just out of this quick little jaunt with me. And you can check this out on, if you want to do your own personal tarot reading, go to Tabletop Simulator. If you've got the app, you can play with this very deck, just like I did here. I'll include the link in the notes. Take care.